everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Katie and I'll be your piano teacher for today. And today we're learning about intervals. Now, an interval is defined as the space or the difference between two note pitches. So for example, if we have a middle C and we have, say, an E, the difference in these two pitches, these two notes, is called an interval. Now, the way we define an interval is based on how far apart. That's what we mean when we say interval. How far apart are the two pitches? So is it second, third, fourth? We'll get into that. But when you hear an interval of a third, an interval of a fifth, that's what it's saying. Is saying the space between two notes is an interval, is a difference of a fifth, 5 pitches, or an interval of a third. It's a difference of 3 pitches. So what that looks like practically is actually here in this C to E, that is actually a third. We have our C, which starts as 1. We always start wherever you're starting, you count that as 1. And then we have a D, and then we have an E. So we have 1, 2, 3. So C to E is considered an interval of a third, because this is one pitch, this is a second pitch, this is a third pitch. If we were to go to a fourth, then that would be the F right here. That is a fourth pitch. So because each of these is an individual pitch, each one is counted when you're determining an interval. So the C is a pitch, and then to the D, that is a second. Then to the E, that's a third. The F is a fourth, and then the G would be a fifth. See how it's counting here? So realistically, what you could do is then, looking at some music, if you were to see a C and an A, and this is within the same measure, and your teacher says, okay, well, what is the interval here? Well, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a sixth. So you can then determine, just by counting from, say, a C to an A, this is the bass note, the home bass, your starting point. Then going up to A, well, all right, I'm having to touch, that's as a line, 1 line. So 1, 2, 3 lines, and 1, 2, 3 spaces, that's 6. And this is how it works for really any scale, any key signature. It doesn't matter. That's going to stay the same. Now, as with anything, it can always get more complicated. But because this is an introductory video, I don't want to really get into that just yet. That'll be more in a later video. We start getting into majors and minors and harmonics and chromatics, things like that. Like I said, it can get a lot more complicated. But for starters, I can't write sideways. This is a sixth. And then, for example, if you were to look at a C major scale, I won't draw them all out, but say they were all here, and actually put it up here. These are both C. They are 8 notes apart. That is an octave. So rather than saying an interval of an eighth or an interval of 8, we call that an octave. So this C is 1 octave higher than middle C, and it goes the other way. So this C is 1 octave lower than middle C. Each of these is an octave. So from here to here and here to here. These are each an octave, and the way we show that in music is to have a little 8. Now with musical notation with octaves, that can come in really handy. And that's going to be a concept for yet another video, because I don't want to overwhelm you. But just to keep things simple, because this is going to take some practice, then that's a second. That's a third. That's a fourth. And you can see how they change. So after all this long-winded explanation, let's go over to the piano and see what this would actually sound like whenever you play. And then that should help make sense of what you're seeing here on the chalkboard. All right, so we're going to start again on the middle C. Apologies, my piano's out of tune. Not going to worry about that. So if we're going to a second, that would be a second going from the C to the D. So what I showed you on the chalkboard, going to an E as a third, because this is one pitch, this is a second pitch, this is a third pitch, this is a fourth pitch, and this is a fifth pitch. So by saying a third pitch, a fourth pitch, a fifth pitch, then hopefully that will help you remember that this is an interval of a fifth because there are 5 pitches involved. This is an interval of a third because there are 3 pitches involved. See, that's the spacing. Now, you're not playing the D when you're doing a third, but because you have to go past it to get to the E, it counts. And then same thing with an octave, the 8th. See? All right, so I hope you found that helpful with intervals. Like I said, it can always get a lot more complicated. But as a basic introduction, I just wanted to introduce you to that, with the thirds, fifths, octaves, things like that, because we've covered the C scale, which if you'd like to see that, then I have a video linked in the description down below. There should also be a card up here somewhere that I'll have linked for that video. And if you have any questions, just chuck them down in the comments. I read all comments and try to reply to as many as I can. So if you have any questions, just put them down there and I will surely see them. Thanks for watching all the way through, and I'll see you next time. Bye.